While Harvey was busy giving Brian Friedman lessons on how publicists actually work, me and my friend Bocce here, you guys have heard about Bocce enough times, we're busy trying to figure out exactly how Harvey works. And we figured it out. Let's get into it.
F around and find out. F around and find out.
Hello there, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm your host, Elsie, and today I brought my bestie from TikTok that you always hear about, Bocce, because it was getting tiring having these conversations by myself when I know she has the goods. Like literally, if you guys think I be dropping knowledge on you, wait till you find out. Bocce, welcome to Fafo and Associates. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Are you kidding? I feel like I'm always over on TikTok with you and we hang out till the wee hours in the night. And
we know.
And I know. Guys, funny story. She fell asleep on our live a couple days ago and I sang lullabies to her. And she just found out today that happened. But
yeah.
But I always tell her whenever we leave TikTok, I'm like, oh, I have to go film for YouTube, which is why I'm always filming in the wee hours of the night for you guys. But today I drag her over here because the conversations we have on TikTok always end up here anyway. So I'm like, we might as well have one here. But Bocce, how do you feel like, I don't know, how do you want to tell people how you got into this? Just like a quick summary, if you will.
Oh, quick summary coming from me. I don't know if that's okay. Something I could do. But no, the real quick way that I got into it is I saw that I actually don't even know how I saw it because I don't think I read the New York Times article. I read the lawsuit first. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly when I eventually read the New York Times article. It may have been the same day or a few days later, but it was the lawsuit, and I went live to read it to a handful of folks, and I was shooketh. I was like, oh my word. The first thing I did a video while I was walking, just saying, I can't believe it. All this time, I thought that she was doing a smear campaign on him back in August. And now she's telling us that he's the one who did a smear campaign. And I am so shooketh that I can't believe these text messages by these publicists. And why are you texting those things from your company phone? Oh, actually, I did know it was a company phone.
I was going to say the word.
I actually did know it was a company phone. That's the ironic thing. I could tell.
You figured it out from the complaint.
From the complaint.
That is actually so funny that you actually just triggered part of what our conversation was going to be about.
Yeah, that was an accident on my part too.
That is amazing. Because we were trying to figure out the last time how TMZ was so, freely calling it a company phone. But what I want to know now, though, is, are you calling it a company phone now? Or did you say that in your original video, which I don't think I saw?
Well, I don't know if I said company phone. Well, actually, I probably did, because I was like, you were told, this is something I said in my live when I did read this lawsuit. I said, I was always told that you separate those things. Yeah. Now, it turns out Publicist world is different. People use their personal phones for all that stuff. But I thought that once you attach it to your company, that they have the right and the freedom to just willy-nilly. But I found out that's not the case. Just because they're paying for it doesn't mean that they have all the freedom in the world to be looking at your stuff.
It's because one of the reasons we were actually recording together today was to talk about, we had like a little not a tiff, because we don't argue ever. We seem to be on stage a lot. But we were talking about specifically Jen Abel, Melissa Nathan, that entire group over there, possibly given Harvey of TMZ that tip. But we're going to jump into the text messages. We're going to get right into it, guys, because we've had this conversation 100 times. So it's like at the back of our head. So for the home watching, we're going to read, this is the unsealing. I went over this quickly with you guys about 3-4 days ago. But the reason we're showing it today is it's going to correlate with a video from TMZ, not the one Brian Friedman just did, from December of 2024, where we just, came up on that video just a couple of days ago. It was new to us, and we thought we had unearthed the mother lode. But we later found out with the embedded code and the, metadata, that it was recorded, or at least it was posted on the 26th of December, which takes something away from, the umph of it all. It's when Brianna, we think the redaction is Brianna. Right. Oh, yes. But somehow they left Justin's phone number.
I know. How did they leave Justin's phone number like unredacted? I know it was super pixelated, but still, I could
still tell what it is.
Yeah. Not that I called him. I did not. I respect his
haven't called him
privacy.
either. I haven't called him, but I think he's changed it by now. I mean,
Probably.
there would be no world he still has that phone number.
I was just surprised they didn't have a name for him there. I was like, how do you have Jamie's name, like Katie's name, Melissa's name, but you don't save Justin's?
But in a way though, I'm like, maybe they didn't bring him in until at the latter stages. I think it's in this case, it's whose POV is this would determine why the number was not saved. Because I feel like if this was Jen Abel's POV, the text would be saved. His name would be saved.
Oh, definitely.
If it's Melissa's POV, she just came into the fold. I could see why the name is not saved yet. Maybe that's like a good enough explanation for that.
Brianna?
Maybe Brianna too. Yeah. So, all right, we're picking up. Are we picking up with the screenshot? Or it says who's speaking with Megan Tui. I just sent the WeTransfer of a bunch of stuff, but need to add more to it. But off the top of my head, one, factually, there isn't a single headline of a source quote from JB, Justin Baldoni, saying anything bad against her, which we know that. 2, Leslie text about speaking with Sarah. 3, billionaire family.
we know they're not billionaires. They're trying to become billionaires through this lawsuit. I was like, that's one way for her to pull her weight, I suppose.
Insert Steve Surwitz from the Claire, are you recording? They're not.
I don't think they are.
I know what billionaires look like. Billionaire family going up against a small new female founded company who was just doing their job. 4, time and time again, in text, emails show we did not want to engage or respond or go nuclear, etc. And I think it's great because a lot of people kept trying to claim Justin was on the offense at every point. Every text messages, Blake asked to be unsealed proves the opposite. These people were like at the ready to fight for themselves if you came at them, and we cannot leak this. So this is where we spend so much time trying to decipher what this text actually means. And I hate when people don't punctuate right or typos or whatever, and you'd have the same thing. But it says, and can we not leak this to someone else before New York Times, who will be shit? We know either way, and get ahead of this. And then Melissa says,
Exactly on with TMZ. That's how I read it. Exactly right. On with TMZ. I think she's on the phone with it doesn't necessarily have to be Harvey, but just someone on TMZ. Even though Harvey calls her a little bit, the next morning, but yeah.
So where me and Bocce have had a little disconnect on, which we don't have a lot, is me trying to figure out, is Melissa on the phone with TMZ? Is her trying to figure out what they know, what they have? But that's kind of my stance. Bocce's like on her way to change my mind completely. Bocce's stance is, go ahead.
Well, to me, it sounds like she saying that she's on with TMZ, right? Because it says, and get ahead of this. Can we not leak this to someone else and get ahead of this? And she said, exactly, on with TMZ. So if we take away the other things, the commentary in the New York Times, it just sounds like she's confirming that that's exactly her plan and why she's on the phone with TMZ. The only thing that holds me back is the way that TMZ wrote that article.
Which is my biggest thing.
Yeah, they had a little thing up on the top. It's not the title. It's not even the subtitle, but it's the title
so
up on the top.
There.
It's right very, here. Very tiny. Look how tiny it is. But they are the first news outlet that used the term smear campaign. And I'm sorry, there was zero use of the word smear campaign within Blake Lively's complaint. The one time the word smear was used within her lawsuit or the CRD complaint was when she quoted somebody in the comments section that accused her of smearing Justin Baldoni. So for them to use the word smear campaign, which was made famous by the New York Times article, I don't think that's just a coinkydink. I think that was the push out. And when you read this, it's not that it's necessarily anti-Justin, but it's definitely not leaning Justin's way. And the other thing I always struggle with is the fact that the quotes that they use here is close to the quotes that the New York Times uses for Brian Friedman, because they didn't want to provide Brian Friedman the full space for his quote, but the Hollywood Reporter did. The Hollywood Reporter printed the whole quote, the whole statement of Brian Friedman. And then because they did, I think that's when not TMZ, the New York Times goes, let's print ours.
Right.
So that's, I'm not still sold myself because of just the article.
Because this is what the New York Times just had to say. They said private messages detail an alleged campaign. They called it an alleged campaign. If you can see right there, the New York Times called it an alleged campaign. They didn't call it a smear campaign. They only said the smear machine. We can bury anyone. The smear machine. To me, the way TMZ was talking, Harvey, and the lady she had, what was her name? Kiki. We figured out her name was Kiki. It sounded like they were having conversation. At least Harvey was talking as though he is talking from like memory, like a conversation has been had. Not that he was reading a document and had this knowledge from that. Do you want to read that now, or do you want to listen to that now, or you want to finish the?
Oh no! I mean, I think that's the only piece that I think I'll read just one more portion of the section, text. And this is when she says, Nathan said, just got woken up by Harvey.
Okay, yes.
That's at 4:55 a.m. her time. And so that's when it was printing. And then Brianna said, TMZ broke.
No.
The thing that gets me and why I strongly 100% believe that he was given this conversation where he's trying to make it look like I'm reading my notes, but he's going off of memory. And the reason I say this is he keeps repeating this HR meeting. There was no HR meeting. Exactly. There was no HR meeting. That is a piece that he was fed because you would not have read the complaint and thought there was an HR meeting.
There is
how can we have an HR meeting with no HR?
Exactly. Bocce and I have seen this before. We've already had conversation about this, but just to pay attention to, for yourself, because you're going to notice, and I don't know, maybe me and Bocce, we fancy ourselves like we know so much about this case. You can tell when a person is speaking about this from knowledge, because the way we talk now, we can reference things without looking at certain things. And then when you're reading things, and the way Harvey was talking, it didn't sound like he had just read the complaint. And keep in mind, this is just 6 days, actually 5 days after the complaint had just dropped, not like 9 months in like we are now, 10 months, 11, however many. All right, let's get into this now.
This is unbelievable. And not just about what Blake Lively is alleging against Justin Baldoni, but what publicists and crisis managers have done to essentially
just trying to listen to like when he starts talking about Publicist with the two angry men in mind as well. So trying to merge those two pieces of information at the same time.
Tarnish her reputation all over town, in some cases with lies.
Yeah, that's the most shocking part.
It is, to me, the most shocking part. But we're going to start with Blake Lively. So, Blake Lively, where she was doing the movie, It Ends With Us, and there was a huge rift between Blake and Justin Baldoni. So we know that. Blake was getting just trashed on social media especially, but really all over the place because they said she was difficult to work with. She was lying about things that Justin had allegedly done. And Blake...
I mean, he's peppering the company line right now. She was trash. And the way he whipped that paper off that table, like he really had talking points. No. Conversations with Team Lively. Like, let's be very for real.
Yeah. It's like Megan Twohey revealing it 2 days after the New York Times dropped their hit piece.
Over the weekend. And she filed this lawsuit alleging sexual harassment against Justin Baldoni. But it went even beyond sexual harassment. And she outlined a lot of things she says he did while they were filming this movie. And then she gets into something we're going to get into, what the Publicist crisis managers were doing to lie about her and create a narrative that would just trash her.
Yeah, I mean, when all of that was going on online, it was shocking. I mean, Blake Lively has been pretty beloved, and all of a sudden
Who are they playing with?
We're the same people. Blake Lively has been pretty beloved in such a stretch, ma'am.
Now, I will tell you that obviously there was the whole, Met Gala stuff. People liked her for the Met Gala. People loved the trolling between her and Ryan.
Yeah.
But beloved is something else. Like, that's that is not something I would say that, like, people like, I think they tried to push that whole like, oh, their couple goals or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But would I have looked at Blake Lively at that time, even before all of this, and said that she was beloved? Nah,
that's a
stretch.
Like they were stretching it.
We both said it at the same time.
We're the same people.
As you read through this complaint, it was clear. Oh, a lot of this was generated, and all it took, it seems, was some money to do it.
That's right. That's right. Now, here's what Blake is alleging. She is saying, among many other things, that I should say.
I want to stop really quickly and go back 2 seconds. Harvey is looking on this paper, yet cannot say anything. Blake Lively is a legend amongst many things. I should say, is there anything actually on the paper worth knowing? Or he's trying to remember what they told him to say? Just
that I should say that there was an HR meeting, a human resources meeting.
And there it is.
And there it is. And if you take a sip of the Betty Buzz or Betty Booze every time he said HR meeting,
you'd be
maybe then, like,
you will be buzzed.
You will be buzzed enough to believe that meeting was an HR meeting.
You might be buzzed enough to believe Blake was beloved. He kept saying HR meeting, HR meeting. We both looked at each other the first time we heard this and we were like, is this a joke?
During filming, because Blake was so upset about things, and Justin was there. As a matter of fact, Ryan Reynolds, her husband, was there.
Yeah.
And what she was saying was she wanted the following demands. No more showing nude videos or images of women to Blake.
Stop. And you know what I can't stand about how Blake Lively did her no more statements?
Hate it.
All of the S's. What nude videos? Where's the? It was a video, and it was a birth video.
Yeah.
Stop.
I hate it. And like the fact that Harvey said nude videos with his chest, I wonder now that he knows we're speaking of a birthing video, how does he feel?
Taken for a ride.
I mean, and again, multiple people were Team Lively when they first heard or saw this because they're like, oh my God, he was showing her nude videos. Oh my God, ew.
Yeah, because she tried to conjure up like the worst image you can imagine.
She's still trying to conjure it up. She's asking for more videos of said
for
woman.
Someone who was traumatized by it, why are you trying to ask for that? Are you literally requesting them to show you every clip until you find the one that you think is the closest to what you proclaimed happened? That's just the same way where she's like, can you please show me all the footage before I have to do my deposition so I can make sure that whatever stories I'm saying lines up?
That's exactly what she's doing.
She says Justin and others were doing just for kicks. No more mention of Baldoni's alleged previous pornography addiction. No discussions about sexual conquests in front of Blake and others. No further mention of cast and crew's genitalia. No more inquiries about Blake's weight.
Sorry, real quick. I never heard that other aspect. He said what?
No further mention of cast and crew's genitalia.
Cast and crew's genitalia. Oh, okay, look, that is so different from what she wrote. There was never anything about cast and crew's genitalia. It was always that she claimed that their genitalia, which I thought, and actually, she said their genitalia, then changed it to now it's just his genitalia. I'm sorry. It's probably like I said, I think either he talked about a vasectomy or a circumcision, something like that. And she claimed it's describing his genitalia. But look how different that is. Now she talks only about his genitalia. But in the actual 30-point document, she says their genitalia. And here's Harvey saying the cast and the crew's genitalia. What in the what?
Yeah.
And that's certainly not in the lawsuit itself. So where was he getting that spiel?
He sounds like he's reading that of the No More.
But he's not
on there.
It is not on there.
Inquiries about Blake's weight and no further mention of Blake's dead father. I mean, this was all out in the open with this huge HR meeting, and Justin apparently said, point taken.
Things is really shocking. And she basically said,
Justin said, point taken?
Point taken? Very different than what Justin actually claims happened. He says that Ryan Reynolds berated him.
Justin said point taken. It's like
Point taken. That's also not in the lawsuit.
ridiculous.
I mean, this is definitely a person who heard something from either the publicist or from Blake Lively herself, or Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. Or all of the above.
All of them. And from the way he was talking to Brian Friedman, and we get on the phone with parties and we confirm sources claim we want to hear from a source. If his source is Ryan, Blake, Leslie, or anybody close enough to them, he's gonna come out here and yap his gums. He believes it. It came from the source.
Mm-hmm.
The way he's talking, again, we agree on this. I don't need to belabor the point, but this man is not sounding like he's actually read the complaint. He sounds like somebody told him something on the phone and he is recalling said conversation. And Justin's point taken is so pedestrian. And
she said, I'm not even going to come back to set unless you meet these demands, which are very normal demands, and they shouldn't have been happening anyways.
Right. Now, so she's alleged all that. And also in this lawsuit, there is this unbelievably orchestrated attempt to trash her by his crisis managers. There's a crisis manager named Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel, and the two of them work together. And here's an example of what they said. This is Jennifer Abel saying, he, meaning Justin, wants to feel like she can be buried. And Melissa Nathan responds, we can bury anyone. And she says, but I can't write that to him.
But you know what I just thought about too? If they want to keep harping on this whole Justin said he wants to feel like we can bury anyone, why would Melissa then respond and say, I can't, we can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're saying that because they don't want anything incriminating.
But I mean, you're already doing the incrimination. You're already having the conversation.
Oh, that's true. Good point, Elsridge.
So why wouldn't you just let him know? Yeah, we got this. We could bury anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that makes no sense. There,
you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
Look at her face. Her face is moving for the entire case.
It's a meme right there.
That's a meme, literally.
Trash Blake Lively because they say they can do anything.
How many times has he said trash Blake Lively?
We do know that. I mean, we always talk about Hollywood fixers and these people who can do those things. And so we do kind of expect that level. But when you see it in writing, you are kind of shocked at how far people will go to take someone down.
And there's mention of, we'll bury her like Hailey Bieber.
Yeah.
Okay, also not true.
That never happened.
That things that never happened. That is not at all what it said. Where are they getting these? It's not even factually accurate at all. Mr. We make sure that everything's factual before we put it on. Stop.
He actually said in the podcast yesterday that we're typically we're great. We make sure we're accurate. And I said, what? TMZ is quite literally known for putting out crap. This man was on a phone with Leslie Sloan. Leslie was like, yeah, they wanted to bury her like Hailey Bieber. He says, great, talking point. You gotta mention that.
And the fact that the co-person agreed with him, y'all are both uninformed.
No, but you know what? Her position is probably Harvey got the goods. Harvey was on the phone with her people. He knows his stuff. I'm piggybacking off exactly what Harvey is saying. My God, this is so bad.
That's just unbelievable. And then
yes, it is.
Because it's not believable because it's not true.
Exactly.
It's so unbelievable, maybe because it's not true. How about that, Harvey?
The fact that came from Justin, ma'am, who is your source? Oh my God, Harvey, this is so bad. This interview needs to come back to life because what is this? This is pure comedy.
He sees a thread and he says, this is what we need to do. So clearly, it shows he had motivation as well.
So she had been in touch, Melissa Nathan, with various media outlets, including us.
And I will say too, I am still very torn because they put smear campaign up on top and all these different things for this particular article, but it just does seem to lean that way.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you this one. I think the further I listen and the further we talk, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the Melissa Nathan definitely dropped the gems initially for the leak, because like Brianna was trying to say, they wanted to get ahead of things. They just didn't know Leslie Sloan was gonna strap up her boots and go toe to toe with them a couple days later and have Harvey actually make a video rather than, writing an article.
That they got websites here and there not to do stories about the HR complaints.
That's why she always says, and others. Like, who's the others?
Who are the others?
Your other
And there really
personalities? I don't know.
16 of them, to be exact.
It was an HR complaint when there really was an HR meeting.
Yeah.
And all of this got unearthed, and it is just the underbelly of Hollywood that just came to the surface.
And to be so confident to be having these exchanges on a company, phone, that was what was most shocking.
But like I said, I did think I understood that it was a company phone.
Yeah. But I'm also going to go ahead and give myself the credit of, I think, fine, they may have read that and gone ahead and think company phone. But after they have a conversation with Leslie Sloan or whoever, they definitely believe it's a company phone.
You know what, though? I'm rethinking of whether or not that actually was shared in the lawsuit itself.
Let's pull it up.
I think it's the reason I knew it was a company phone was because I read Stephanie Jones's lawsuit.
Oh.
Yeah, and Stephanie Jones's lawsuit came out like she was the first to file technically on her lawsuit, like legally, It came after the CRD complaint, but the first officially filed in a court. And that, I think, came out maybe the 23rd or 24th, which would have been ahead enough of this thing.
24th, yeah.
So I think that's how I knew it was a company phone, because she shares that, obviously, in her own lawsuit.
Because I'm looking at the complaint now, trying to see if there was a point where the text messages would have come up that would have led them to think it's a company.
Oh. And also Jen Abel's Facebook message
post. Jen Abel's
Facebook
post. Which
there were multiple locations that they could have realized it was a company phone.
So I can leave the text message. The company phone doesn't have to be my Roman Empire. It doesn't have to be my Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if I would ever want someone who was a fixer who wasn't a little more discreet about it, but it's good that we had this because we know, again, how far people are willing to go.
This story is so crazy to me that he would be on set and just be talking to her so much that she like had a meeting with HR to do all this and like still showed up to work. Like, she's a big actress. She's rich. I don't understand how like he could be talking about my dead dad and me being like, let me still go to work the next day.
Well, but what is the option?
I mean, I've had this conversation before where I've always said the way she keeps acting as though she needed this paycheck and she couldn't just leave that set. Now, I'm not saying if somebody's making you uncomfortable at your workplace, you just leave and you run away from the problem rather than them fixing the issue. What I'm saying is, you're Blake Lively, you're married to Deadpool. This is not like your first movie where you need the check, right? And again, there are steps you could have taken.
Why were you doing this?
I don't know why.
You're like Lively, Deadpool.
Because everything around this woman, you just have to be prepared. You're married to Ryan Reynolds. A paycheck is not your problem. You don't care about this movie because we know you don't care. You didn't read the book. You're not attached to this. There was nothing keeping you on that set. If that man is talking about my dead daddy, I'm not coming back. If he's looking at my boobs, I'm not coming back. If you're showing me videos of actual nude women, I'm not coming back. So why did you keep going back on our set? And then why didn't you take the proper steps to report him, like going to SAG? Why are we having brunch meetings in your living room in Tribeca when your husband is scolding him? Makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Especially when you're claiming you were doing it for the cast and crew and not just for yourself. What was Ryan Reynolds going to do for the cast and crew? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And he was always the planned representative. So I mean, I will say that Blake Lively did explicitly say in her amended lawsuit that she could have walked away at any time. And I was like, that's a very interesting thing to say. So you admit you could have walked away, but she's like, but because she cared so much about this movie, She was so giving.
Girl, just say you didn't want to go home and watch your 4 kids. Just say you needed a couple weeks off from being with those kids. That's the only reason you did not go home. Because honestly, you had just given birth. You really could have been at home. Nobody was forcing you to work. You didn't need the money. I'm gonna keep saying it.
I will say this though, Elsridge. You know when Ryan Reynolds says to Justin Baldoni, she turns down all these film. She passes on all these films and film directors all the time.
I made her pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think what it comes down to. This is why I think she really, really wanted to do this movie. I know you're like, she doesn't care, but I think she wanted something that was her own. Yeah. Because when he says to Justin Baldoni, she always passes on things. It doesn't give me the impression that she wants to pass on things. When you do an all-out blitz in the news to talk about how you and Blake care so much about your family that you never want to work at the same time together, when will she get to work? Because he was always working. So when does she get to work?
Even with It Ends With Us. He had Deadpool, especially filming out of the country. He was in London. And they try to convince us he's such a loving father. That's why he kept flying back home. No, he kept flying back home because how you get him is how you lose him. Allegedly. Don't sue me. I ain't got it. But hey, that man was scared. He's scared to leave her at home with the drivers, with the bodyguards, with Justin, with everybody. That's why he kept catching red eyes to come from London back home when he was in London filming. But you didn't hear it from me.
Yeah.
Is that really on her to do?
It's just, I don't know. I just don't understand how she could have kept going. Like,
yeah,
it's
girl.
so crazy.
Well, but they ended up having a big meeting and Justin backed off.
Yeah.
Oh, so now it's just a meeting, not an HR meeting?
At least getting closer.
It is scary, though, to think like someone as big as Blake Lively, and she's saying those things are happening to her at set. If there's a lesser actress, I can't even imagine what could be happening to them.
Hey, Kiki, there were lesser actresses on set, and they were fine, by the way. They let me talk to your soul, Kiki. Look at me. Your eyes are wide open, so I know you can hear me. There was a lesser actress. And should we take a look at what that lesser actress sent the director when she was done with her acting gig? Like, do we need refreshers, Kiki? She thanked that man for creating a safe space for her. She was so grateful. This was her first experience. You thought Justin was going to SH Blake Lively, the one married to one of the biggest stars in the world, and leave Farrah lollygagging, walking around? Like what? She wasn't available to SH? Farrah thanked the man for the experience. And now somehow she doesn't know her left from right. So who got to her? Kiki? Riddle me that.
I really found it fascinating that Ryan Reynolds showed up at this HR meeting. I thought that was really interesting.
I mean, I would too. I mean, I would expect that, especially considering, the allegation she was making. I would want my husband in the room to protect me. This
lawsuit, when I read it, really
did you read it?
It was one of the most interesting complaints I've ever read. It was 80 pages, and it was a Colleen Hoover novel in itself.
I remember the internet going crazy when this dropped. And I always tell you, I wasn't a content creator at that time. I remember being at home. I actually saw I wish I could go back to my archives and see this, but I don't think it's possible because I never archived it. But there was the TMZ post, right? And I remember specifically posting it to my stories, and I wrote absolute bullshit. Not in this lifetime. And I'm one of the very few that was never Team Lively from day one. There were some stragglers. I think you were a straggler.
Yeah, I had questions even from the beginning, simply because there were the biggest red flag to me personally, and I had questions on was like, why was the smear campaign more important than the sexual harassment that she was accusing him of? That's the thing that didn't sit well with me. But at that time, I laughed at my old videos where I was like, I think that she can win on the sexual harassment. I just don't think she can win on the smear campaign. That's what I said. I said, because she did everything right. She documented and she went to HR and she did all these things, right? That's the impression she gave us, right? But also, like I say, the biggest lie that's still around is that they signed that 30-point no more document. Right. It is the biggest thing that convinced many of us, including myself, the first time I read it, because she stuck it at page 2, and then she stuck it as exhibit A and B for the one that actually got signed. Yeah. So most people have the span, like the attention span to get to page 2. You know what I mean? So yes, I was a straggler in the sense of like, it took me, I think I felt more solid after Justin Baldoni came out and sued the New York Wayfarer parties, sued the New York Times.
Yeah.
That when I saw the rest of the text messages within the context they were actually in, I was like, Blake Lively choosing to omit those text messages made me side eye her.
So it never sat right with me the way she tried to like overtake his movie, first of all, but also even in the conversations, he never seemed like he had power. There was no point I felt like there was a power dynamic here that didn't favor her, you know. And to me, that never sat right with me. And I'm talking about text messages that came in February, but still, I saw her. I didn't even bother to read the complaint the day it came. I just literally saw that TMZ post and I said, absolutely the fuck not. And then a couple days later, I read it and then I was like, then I started watching people's content on it. And then I was frustrated with the way people were covering him. Like, oh, he's a nobody knows him. And I was like, no, we know him. We know him. We know him to be this. We know him to be this person. We know him to be a person who spends his birthday with the unhoused. He creates whole, like, this is who we know him to be. I'm talking about I know him like I know that man. I don't. And that's how I started. But thanks for hanging out with me, Bocce. Everyone can go follow Bocce on TikTok because that's where she is, even though I'm trying to get her over here. And then I'm going to put all your info in the description below. What do you remember?
Ooh, also, please plug my Spotify new album, Court of Public Opinion.
I'm going to put that in the link in the description. So Bocce makes music about this case, pretty much. Like if something happens that's like headlining enough or it makes sense enough, she will write songs about it and put it out there. And some of them are actually great. One of them are inspired by me. So you guys,
actually, I'm sorry to make it the cut of this particular album, but I realized after I rewatched the video that I was like, oh my word, why did I put King Back Down? I wanted to, but for some reason I missed it when I was going through the list. I have 47 songs. I needed to narrow it down to 17. So,
well, that's a bummer.
I'm so sorry.
Now you can promote your own stuff.
My bad.
I'm kidding. I'm going to post it anyway. But thank you so much for coming. This was fun. This was so much fun. And if they don't cut us off, we're going to keep going because we can still find things to talk about in this case, even when we're done. I may need to do a part 1 and part 2 just so people can actually watch both. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you for hanging out. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll try to get back to you. I'll make sure Bocce sees the comments you guys leave for her as well. But either way, thank you guys for being here so much. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.